Hi, Brother Wilson. So I'm doing my lesson for Alea. I am teaching her how to bake cinnamon rolls, and it will take place next Wednesday, July 11th at my apartment, Royal Crest, apartment 314. So we'll start out by her coming to my apartment, and by doing this it could increase her state anxiety because she'll be in a new place and it may make her a little uncomfortable because she's not familiar with it. It can also increase her trait anxiety because she can be meeting new people. I'll probably have some of my roommates here that will be in and out, and my friend might be over to kind of help out with this and help out with like the social development part. So it could cause her to be a little bit nervous, especially if she isn't the best with social situations. Overall, her debilitating anxiety could increase until she gets used to the new place and the new people. But I think after a while, she will use her facilitating anxiety to help her push through the nervousness and warm up to my roommates and my friend. So next, I will take her over to the kitchen and show her the recipe that I have for the cinnamon rolls. This will be the prototype. I will explain to her what we usually see on the recipe, like the ingredients, the instructions, and the serving size. And then I will explain to her that these are the defining characteristics, so these are what you usually find on a recipe. I will also explain to her that some recipes have other characteristics such as prep time, bake time, nutritional facts, and a picture usually. This would be me explaining the correlation features to a recipe. I'll probably show her some different types of recipes just so she can see the differences, which would be like the positive and negative examples, so she can see that not all recipes are going to look the same, but they all serve the same purpose. I will talk to her about any misconceptions that she might have between baking and cooking, because sometimes people don't understand the difference. I know for a while I didn't understand the difference, so we'll talk to her about that just so she understands that baking is different from cooking. And I can answer any other misconceptions she may have. To go along with the positive and negative example, I will help her understand the overgeneralizations, like all food comes from recipes, because sometimes people just make stuff up as they go, they don't follow a set recipe. And then I will talk to her about any undergeneralizations, like only baked goods come from recipes, which is not true. Obviously, there's many different things that can come from recipes that you can cook instead of bake, or just like little appetizers that you can like mix together. Like there's a lot of things that can come from recipes. We'll also go over measuring. I don't know how much experience she's had with that, but we'll go over just like the 1 cup, half cup, a 1/4 cup, 2/3 cup, just go over those, and then like teaspoon and tablespoon. Throughout the lesson, when we have to measure things, I'll like have her, measure everything out and practice that. So we will go through the recipe and read through it and make sure that she understands what we have to do before we move on. This will be the mastery learning, to make sure that she knows, like, we're going to do this and then this, and make sure that she understands what's going on before she just jumps into it. I will have the ingredients laid out so she can easily get to what she needs. This will help with the physical arrangement, because that is very important. I think too, for the lesson to go smoothly, but also just to make Alea feel more comfortable having everything just right there. I will have the ingredients and everything needed for this lesson in arm's reach to help with the physical climate and have the physical climate work for Alea. I don't want to have her have to wonder where something is, or if she has to go somewhere to get it. I'll have it all right there, so she can just look at the recipe, see what we need. She can grab it and measure it out, or mix it in, or whatever she needs to do with that. So the fact that she'll be able to read the recipe and know which ingredients are which will show me her individual physical state and show me that she is going to be able to perform this task. Obviously, if she needs help with anything, I'll be there to help her and kind of walk her through it. But I think that she'll be able to read through it, and if she has any questions about what an ingredient is or why we need to use it, like, I will help her as best as I can. Throughout this lesson, I'll be paying attention to her cueing to see if she understands, needs help, or we need to slow something down. Hopefully, like, she'll use this with body language, or she will just, tell me, like, hey, can we slow down, or I don't understand this, or wait, what do we need to do here? So I'll be paying attention to her cueing to see kind of where she's at in the lesson. I will use proximity to help her feel more comfortable. I'll be close to her as I'm like helping her out and trying to talk to her and let her know how to do something, and if she does need help, I'll be right there, like teaching her and being right by her, but also I will allow her space when completing a task on her own. I think this will make her feel more like independent and individual, and she's really learning and doing it on her own instead of having me right there next to her, because at that point I won't be teaching her or helping her learn, like she'll be doing it on her own, and so I will give her more space than as I would if I was right there next to her teaching her. I feel like she'll be able to do most of the reading, measuring, mixing by herself, but there will be some things like using the oven, kneading the dough, cutting, that she may need help with. The things that she needs help with will be in her zone of proximal development, just meaning that those are things that she hasn't mastered yet, and we can help her, but the things that she can do by herself would be out of her zone of proximal development, and she is good with that, and she doesn't need my help or my assistance. She can do it. So after we read the recipe and make sure we have all the ingredients, we will start mixing together what we need. I will probably do the first step and then have her copy what I did for the next step. I'll probably just grab the first ingredient and read the first set of instructions, and then I'll kind of have her mock that, just like read the second step and add the ingredients in that we need and have her do all that, and then this would be contagious behavior. So she's following what I'm doing, and that is how she is learning. The best way to learn is by doing, but sometimes we need someone to show us first, and so that's what I will do. I will take the first set of instructions, I will read it out loud, I will walk her through what I'm doing, and I will show her, and then I will have her read the second step out loud and kind of walk me through what she's doing and letting me know, and we'll go from there. We will have visualization because we'll have the recipe right in front of us. I will actually print it out so we can have it, and so it's not just on a computer, because I feel like a lot of times people just pull up recipes on the internet and just use them right off their computers or their phone. So I want to show her that we can also just print it out and have a hard copy of the recipe right in front of us to help us, and we don't always have to look off an electronic device to have a recipe. She will probably understand a lot of steps because she has helped her mom bake cinnamon rolls before. Baking cinnamon rolls is kind of in her schema. She understands kind of the concept of it and the end result. That is is actually one reason why I chose to do baking cinnamon rolls, because she would tell me that she bakes them with her mom all the time, and she really enjoys it, and she just wants to learn kind of how to do it by herself so she can kind of make some for her family without her mom's help. So we will continue to repeat the steps until all the ingredients are mixed together. I will allow her to do most of this part by herself so she can raise her self-efficacy when it comes to baking. I know a lot of times, especially kids at a young age, they can get discouraged because they don't think that they can do it right, or a lot of times, they'll be in the kitchen and their parents will have them help, but they want to be able to do it on their own, but their parents won't allow them to because they don't think they can. And so I think by me allowing her to do most of just the mixing together and stuff by herself, it will help her raise that confidence and let her know that she can do it and she can, get through all the steps by herself with little help. Throughout the lesson, I will use a variety of information and control language while instructing her on this lesson. I obviously don't want to come off as bossy, but I want to be able to let her know that she's doing something right or that she could do something maybe a little bit differently. But I don't want to come off mean or controlling or anything like that. Since she is in the industry versus inferiority stage, I will try and encourage her as much as possible and let her know when she's doing a great job. I really think that helps children feel successful and, be motivated to keep going even if they feel discouraged and they're not getting it right. I feel like the more that we encourage students, it motivates them and pushes them to want to continue to learn and get onto the next steps and keep moving forward. And in order to be successful, I feel like they need that encouragement. We will need to let the dough rise for about 45 minutes. And so in this instant, I will be making some of the dough earlier, probably on Tuesday. I will make some dough and have that ready, and I will pull it out on Wednesday during our lesson and let that dough rise. And so we won't have to wait super long. So after we're done making all of that, I'll explain to her that I made some earlier, so we don't have to wait 45 minutes for it to rise, and we'll just switch the dough and we'll bake the ones that I had already had risen. I'll explain to her that I had some ready and we'll bake the other ones later, just so we're not waiting around a lot. So at some point during the lesson, I will have one of my friends come over and make conversation with Alea. This will help her social development. And also, like I said in the beginning, I'll probably have some of my roommates kind of popping in and out throughout the lesson, just trying to make small talk with her, especially if Alea isn't super comfortable in social environments. Hopefully this will help her come out of her shell a little bit more and warm up to my friends and my roommates and be able to talk to them and have a conversation to help her with that social development. Also, I will probably have one of my friends, I will tell her not to do something or not to touch something, and she'll do it anyway, while I'm not looking, and then I'll ask her about it. I'll ask my friend about it, and she'll lie, and then I'll see if Alea says anything about it. This will be helping her moral development. I'll see if she is going to be like, hey, no, she actually did do that, she lied, whether she says it right there or she says it later on, or if she just sits quiet about it. So after the cinnamon rolls are done rising, we will put them in the oven. I will kind of show her how to set the timer, and to be very cautious and like listen for them. Also kind of show her that you want to kind of check them throughout just to see if they're baking too fast or they'll need more time. So we'll kind of go with that. As they are baking, we will work on the frosting. I had asked her in the advertisement to find her favorite frosting recipe and bring the ingredients for that and her recipe, and so we'll go through that. We'll just read through it and make sure that we have everything that we need, and if we have the correct amount of everything that we need. And this is where she will use discovery learning by making the frosting herself. She will practice reading the recipe, following the instructions, and then building confidence in her abilities. Obviously, I'll be right there with her. If she has any questions, I will help her, but for the frosting part, I think I'm going to let her take the reins and pretty much do it by herself, but I will be right there in case she needs help or assistance with anything or has questions. But for the most part, I just really want her to kind of take what she had learned from us following the recipe for the cinnamon rolls and applying that to following the recipe for the frosting and doing that mostly by herself. Once they are done baking, we will let them cool. I will explain to her that it's important that we let them cool down before we put the frosting on, or else the frosting will just melt everywhere. So that's an important part. And I will have her tell me one thing that she liked the most about the lesson, and maybe something that she was worried about or would like to build more confidence on. And then we can just talk about that a little bit, and hopefully maybe I can give her a task at home to kind of help her build confidence in that skill. So we'll see how that goes. And then we'll package her cinnamon rolls up, and I will give her a recipe for the cinnamon rolls. I'll have that printed out so she can keep it. And then at the end of this lesson, I hope that her simplified memory system was able to register and then store in the short-term memory and finally store in the long-term memory on how to bake cinnamon rolls and frosting so she can go and make them at home by herself. So that's what I have for my lesson plan. Hopefully this all goes well and she learns something from this and learns how to bake some cinnamon rolls. So yeah, I can't wait to teach her on Wednesday.